Welcome to HFY Adult Stories. My name is Stefan. I'll be your narrator today. Before listening to the story, please subscribe to my channel and watch the full video. Thank you. Let's go. Alien Emperor. Humans. Fragile, weak. They multiply in the most inefficient way imaginable. Disgusting. The Emperor lounged on his throne, mandibles clicking as his voice echoed through the grand chamber. Advisors nodded like sycophantic bobbleheads, agreeing without question. Alien Advisor. Indeed, my Emperor. They perspire and flail during the process. How undignified. The princess stood at the side, tall and radiant in her regal battle robes, arms folded across her chest, her tail twitching with irritation. Princess. Maybe they do things differently, but that doesn't mean they're weak. The Emperor scoffed, his frilled crest flaring. Emperor. Differently? Ha! I saw a human male faint after seeing a minor flesh wound. Their species survives by squirming on each other like worms in heat. That is not power. That is embarrassment. The chamber erupted with laughter, cruel and sharp. The princess's jaw tightened. Princess. Perhaps you should not judge so easily, father. Emperor. Judging? I am stating fact. Our warriors split mountains. Humans can barely split their legs without injury. Another wave of laughter. Her tail lashed like a whip. Princess. You assume much. I think you fear what you do not understand. The Emperor's crest stiffened, his gaze narrowing. Emperor. Do not challenge me, daughter. I know weakness when I see it. Humans breed like vermin, not like conquerors. Princess. And yet, father, their numbers cover entire worlds. The chamber fell silent. The Emperor's mandibles clacked in irritation, but he said nothing. The princess inclined her head gracefully, turned on her heel, and strode out without another word. Later, her private chamber doors sealed shut with a metallic thud. She stood before her holoscreen, eyes fixed on the glowing title. Human Reproductive Process, a Comprehensive Study. She settled onto a pile of silken cushions, claws tapping the floor impatiently as the video began to play. Narrator, hollow video. The human species reproduces sexually, requiring a male and a female to engage in copulation. Princess. Copulation, She took notes on a glowing tablet, her handwriting sharp as a blade. 2 entities required. Appendage insertion into, what is this? Cavity? Primitive. Intriguing. The video continued, showing diagrams of human anatomy. Narrator. The male reproductive organ, commonly referred to as the penis, is introduced into the female's vaginal canal. Princess. Penis. Vaginal canal. Such crude names for battle gear. She tilted her head as the animation demonstrated the act in clinical detail. So the male mounts? And then thrusts repeatedly. Is this combat or ritual dance? The video cut to a more graphic portion, a real human couple demonstrating the process in slow motion, bodies entwined, sweating, gasping. Princess. Oh, so that is why they perspire so much. Her tail flicked, amused. They grunt like beasts yet appear to enjoy the struggle. Curious. They call this pleasure? She replayed the scene 3 times, analyzing every angle. When the male collapsed onto the female in exhausted triumph, she paused the screen, zooming in on his face. Princess. Exhaustion. Satisfaction. Surrender. She smiled, sharp and predatory. Perhaps there is strength in this surrender. The next clip showed conception explained in sterile language, but her mind was far from sterile now. Princess. So, humans multiply by uniting flesh, by friction, by passion. She tasted the word like a sweet poison. A war waged not with blades but with bodies. A battle that births more soldiers. Her tail curled as her thoughts darkened with humor. Father calls them vermin, yet they breed entire civilizations by writhing in sheets. The video ended with an awkward educational slogan. Human reproduction, creating life through intimacy. Princess. Creating life. She leaned back on the cushions, tapping the stylus against her lips. Perhaps father is wrong. Perhaps this ritual is not weakness, but strategy. Her gaze drifted to the stars beyond the open balcony, glittering like the eyes of 1,000 voyeurs. She laughed softly. Princess. If humans truly depend on this act for survival, then the act must have merit, efficiency, power. I will see for myself. She summoned her attendants with a sharp clap. 2 insectoid handmaidens scurried in, heads bowed. Handmaiden. Your radiance commands? Princess. Yes. Summon the human ambassador. The handmaidens exchanged glances, antennae twitching nervously. Handmaiden. For a diplomatic matter? Princess. For a matter of universal significance. Her grin widened. Tell him the princess requires his presence for calculations. The attendants bowed and vanished. The princess rose from her cushions, stripping off her battle robes piece by piece until only sleek underlayers clung to her flawless emerald skin. Her reflection stared back from the obsidian mirror, tall, lethal, curves honed like weapons, eyes glowing with purpose. Princess, if humans are so feeble, this one will break under me like glass. Her tongue flicked across sharp teeth. And yet, if he does not, then perhaps father has underestimated them. She returned to the hollow screen, replaying one final scene of tangled human limbs and whispered moans. Princess, strange sounds. Are they war cries? Or signals of triumph? She leaned closer, studying the male's face mid-climax. Such an expression. I must see it with my own eyes. She closed the screen with a snap and stood before the balcony as the twin suns dipped low, casting blood-gold shadows across the palace. Princess, soon father will eat his words. I will not only learn how humans multiply. Her grin gleamed in the dying light. I will master it. The chamber doors parted with a hiss, revealing the human ambassador flanked by 2 alien guards. He was tall by human standards, but in this palace of titans, he looked almost delicate. Broad shoulders wrapped in a crisp Earth Federation uniform, a diplomatic smile plastered on his face. Human, your radiance, I was told you requested my presence? Her gaze swept over him like a predator sizing up its prey. She rose from her cushions with a slow, deliberate grace, each movement screaming dominance. Princess, yes. Come closer. I wish to evaluate your potential. Human, evaluate? For what exactly? Trade negotiations? Princess, negotiation, yes. Terms of exchange. Her tail curled behind her, and the faint glow of her scales pulsed with amusement. He approached the central dais, confusion shadowing his features. Human, what kind of terms are we talking about? Princess, biological terms. His brows furrowed. Biological, wait, what? Before he could step back, she moved, swift as a striking serpent. One moment he was standing, the next, his back slammed against a pillar, his breath whooshing out as her claws pinned his wrists high above his head. Princess, you will assist me in a vital experiment. Human, experiment? Look, if this is about blood samples I already gave. Princess, not blood. Flesh. Function. Fertility. Her voice dripped like molten metal, hot and heavy. His pulse spiked. Those sound like pretty intimate experiments. Princess, intimate. Yes. She leaned in, her breath warm against his ear. I want to see how humans multiply. Human, multiply? Lady, I think you mean. Princess, do not correct me. Her tongue flicked across his cheek, leaving a tingling burn. Your species claims superiority in adaptability. Prove it. He swallowed hard, trying for humor to mask the panic. Human, normally I like dinner first, maybe a drink. Princess, you will dine on victory when this is over. She dragged him toward the center of the chamber like he weighed nothing, tossing him onto a mound of plush cushions that hissed as they absorbed his impact. He scrambled upright, hands raised defensively. Human, okay, let's just slow down for a sec. Princess, humans reproduce through insertion of the primary tool into the receiving aperture. Yes? His mouth dropped open. Wow. You've been doing some research. Princess, your educational broadcasts are enlightening. So crude. So vivid. Her grin widened as she reached for the clasp of her ceremonial armor. It hit the floor with a metallic thud, revealing sleek black underlayers that hugged her alien curves in ways that made his throat dry. Human. Holy shit. Princess. Holy? Does your deity approve of this ritual? Human. Depends on the denomination. She stalked closer, hips rolling like liquid fire, voice dropping into a throaty purr. Princess. Remove your garments. I must inspect your equation. Human. Equation? Listen, I'm flattered really, but I'm here as an ambassador, not a... Princess. You are here as my specimen. Her claws slid under his chin, lifting his face until his eyes locked with hers. Unless humans fear proving themselves? He forced a shaky grin. We don't fear much. But this isn't exactly in the treaty. Princess, I amend the treaty. Effective now. She snapped her fingers, and the doors sealed with a hiss. The sound echoed like a death sentence. Human. Great. Now it's official. Princess, you hesitate. Why? Is your stamina lacking? Or are the rumors true? Human. Rumors? Princess, that human males finish battles in under 3 minutes. Her eyes gleamed wickedly. I hope your performance exceeds your reputation. He laughed nervously. Look, performance pressure is real, okay? Princess, then relieve it. Disrobe. Human. Wow. Straight to the point. Princess. Efficiency is strength. He tugged at his uniform jacket with trembling hands, muttering under his breath. Can't believe I'm stripping in front of a 7-foot goddess with claws. Princess. 7-foot goddess? Her grin sharpened. Flattery will not save you, but it pleases me. He peeled off his undershirt, muscles taut under the alien glow. Her gaze roamed his body like a scanner, lingering low. Princess. So this is the famed tool of multiplication. Human. It's got a better name, you know. Princess. It appears functional, though not as formidable as I imagined. Human. Gee, thanks. Real boost to my confidence. Princess. Perhaps size does not matter. Perhaps technique triumphs. She loomed over him like a living shadow, voice curling around him like smoke. Show me, human. Show me the technique that conquered galaxies without a single blade drawn. He stared at her glowing eyes, his heart slamming like war drums. Human. You're really serious about this? Princess. Deadly serious. Human. Guess diplomacy just got a whole new meaning. She tilted her head, amused. You make jest in the face of dominance. Admirable, or foolish. He grinned weakly. Story of my life. She crouched low, her tail curling around his waist like a living rope. His breath hitched as her claw traced a line down his chest, slow and deliberate. Princess. Your pulse quickens. Anticipation? Fear? Human. Yes. Princess. Good. Fear sharpens instinct. And instinct ensures survival. He tried another nervous laugh. Sure. Let's call it survival. She leaned closer, lips grazing his ear, voice a silk-wrapped blade. Princess. Commence the demonstration. Human. You mean right now? Princess. Now. Or shall I summon witnesses? His eyes went wide. No. No witnesses. We're good. Just, give me a sec to warm up. Princess. Warm up? Human. Yeah. Human stretch before, strenuous activity. Princess. How quaint. Proceed with your ritual. He stood, doing an awkward shoulder roll, muttering. God help me. She watched, amused, hunger blazing in her eyes. Princess. Enough delay. Multiply. The last word cracked like a whip. The chamber pulsed with heat, shadows stretching as her pheromones thickened the air. His lungs burned, his head spun, but her command carved through him like fire. Human. Guess math was never my strong suit. Her grin widened, sharp and hungry. Princess. Then tonight, human, you will learn. The cushions hissed under his weight as he sank back, her towering frame casting a shadow that swallowed him whole. Her scales shimmered like molten jade in the dim light, the pulse of bioluminescent veins throbbing along her thighs. She prowled closer on all fours, a predator savoring the last seconds before the kill. Princess. Remove the rest. Human. Right. Just like that, huh? Not even a countdown? Princess. 3. He froze. You're joking. Princess. 2. His boots flew off, pants following in a frantic shuffle. Princess. 1. Efficient. Her gaze dropped lower. A low, throaty chuckle rumbled from her chest. So, this is humanity's primary instrument of conquest. Human. You make it sound like a war crime. Princess. Perhaps it is. If so, I consent to the violation. He swallowed hard, muttering. Jesus Christ. Princess. Is that the name of your weapon? Human. Not exactly. She crouched over him, tail curling like a serpent around his thigh, her claws tracing lazy lines across his chest. Sparks of pleasure and panic chased down his spine. Princess. It is smaller than I imagined. Human. Wow. Love the confidence boost. Princess. But perhaps size matters less than precision. You will demonstrate precision. Human. You say that like we're in a firing range. Princess. Are we not? One target. One shot. Do not fail. Human. No pressure. Her fingers hooked under his hips, lifting him effortlessly like a doll. He yelped as she flipped him, adjusting his position with the clinical efficiency of a surgeon preparing an incision. Human. This isn't a wrestling match. Princess. Is it not? There will be grappling. There will be submission. Her grin bared serrated teeth, wicked and hungry. Do you yield, human? Human. I didn't realize yielding was optional. Princess. Then you will not yield. She straddled him, knees sinking into the cushions like spears into flesh. The heat rolling off her body scorched his skin, thick with alien pheromones that curled into his lungs and rewired his brain. His heart thundered, each beat a desperate drum warning him to flee, but where could he run? Her hands gripped his wrists, pinning them above his head with insulting ease. She leaned down, tongue flicking along his jaw, voice a molten whisper. Princess. Commence insertion. Human. Could you make it sound less like a factory manual? Princess. Would you prefer poetry? Her hips rolled forward, teasing contact, sending a jolt of electricity through his spine. Then hear my verse. You are the blade. I am the sheath. Prove your edge. He groaned, half aroused, half terrified. God, you're intense. Princess. God? Summon him if you wish. He will hear your cries soon. Their bodies collided, her skin hot as liquid iron, every muscle coiled in lethal grace. She moved like war-given form, each thrust calculated, devastating, relentless. He clung to breath, to reason, to any shred of control as her strength overwhelmed him, reducing him to nothing but sensation. Human. Holy Jesus. Princess. Do not pray to another while inside me. He laughed breathlessly, choking on the absurdity. Sorry, your radiance. You're all I can think about. Her smile curved, sharp as broken glass. Good. She ground against him, rhythm precise, each motion measured like an equation being solved on his body. His nails dug into the cushions, head tipping back in helpless surrender. Sweat slicked his skin, mingling with her heat, with the strange sweet tang of her scent filling the air like opium. Human. You're insane. Princess. No. I am thorough. She twisted her hips with a brutal snap that dragged a strangled moan from his throat. Research demands repetition. Human. Repetition? How many times are we talking? Princess. Until your data satisfies me. He gasped, laughing despite himself. You're gonna kill me. Princess. If you expire, you will die in glory. His pulse roared in his ears, pleasure cresting like a tidal wave threatening to drown him. She rode it without mercy, her strength both terrifying and intoxicating. Every sound that tore from his throat only spurred her faster, harder, like a predator drunk on the hunt. Princess. Your endurance exceeds my projections. Human. Thanks. I think. Princess. Do not thank me. Thank your genetic coding. He barked a breathless laugh. You really know how to kill the mood. Princess. The mood is not dead. It thrives. The world narrowed to heat, friction, the wet slap of bodies colliding in primal rhythm. Her claws scored lines across his ribs, marks that burned but didn't bleed, a signature etched in living flesh. He groaned, hips jerking, the edge tearing through him like wildfire. God. Princess. Do it. Her voice cracked like thunder, command laced with venom and silk. Complete the equation. His release hit like an explosion, white-hot and violent, ripping a raw sound from his throat. She didn't stop, not immediately, grinding through his climax with merciless precision before slowing, hovering above him like a goddess surveying the ruins of her battlefield. He collapsed into the cushions, chest heaving, lungs clawing for air. Sweat dripped down his temples, pooling under his spine. She studied him in silence, tail coiled lazily around his thigh like a claim staked in living muscle. Princess. Fascinating. He managed a hoarse laugh. Glad I could help with your science fair project. Princess. Do not jest. You have altered my hypothesis. Human. Yeah? What's the new theory? Princess. That humans are far from weak. Her grin gleamed in the low light, wicked and satisfied. And that this experiment requires additional trials. His eyes widened in exhausted horror. Wait, what? Princess. Recovery interval, 2 minutes. Human. 2 minutes? Lady, I need a miracle, not a water break. Princess. Then pray harder, human. She bent close, breath ghosting over his ear like a promise and a threat all at once. Round 2 begins now. The first thing that hit him was the heat, a sudden rush of air so warm it felt alive as the princess stepped closer. Her breathing was deliberate now, heavy, like she'd just run a marathon, but her eyes told another story, bright, unblinking, fixed on him as if he were prey and she was starving. His back met the cold surface of the door as he realized there was no escape. She'd locked it earlier. By accident. Except accidents didn't usually involve coded keypads and her voice purring the word privacy like it was an invitation. You humans, she whispered, claws dragging along the wall beside his head, sparks flying where keratin meant metal. You make this sound when you multiply. The grunting. Her smile split wide, teeth sharp, tongue flicking like a serpent's. I want that. He swallowed hard. We don't, just grunt. There's more to it. Yes, she hissed, leaning so close he felt her breath on his lips. The pushing. The sweating. The friction. Your educational holiday was incomplete. Her hand closed around his tie and yanked, hard enough to choke. She pulled him forward, and for a second he thought she was going to kiss him, until she threw him onto the bed so hard the mattress cracked and groaned like it had just signed a waiver. Lesson 1. He wheezed, sprawled, trying to regain oxygen. We usually ask before tossing someone like a sack of grain. She crawled onto the bed, every movement deliberate, hips swaying with predatory grace. Asking is for the weak. My kind does not ask, we claim. Her fingers tore his shirt open in a single swipe, buttons scattering like tiny, screaming civilians. And now, she tilted her head, studying the bare chest beneath. You are not armored. So fragile. Like meat left in the sun. He coughed, laughing nervously. Wow, thanks for the confidence boost. Really gets me in the mood. Her brow furrowed, mandibles twitching in thought before curling into a grin. Mood. Yes. I will make you moan. She pronounced it like an oath, as though moaning was a sacred ritual she had to perfect. I appreciate the effort, but... He stopped because her tongue, longer than his arm had any right to allow, slid across his stomach like a warm rope. His whole body jerked. Oh, holy, okay, that's one way to start. Not enough? Her tone dripped challenge. I have studied pressure points. I know where to apply force. He didn't even have time to object before she flipped him, face first, straddling his back, claws kneading into his shoulders with a strength that screamed mortal danger disguised as foreplay. He yelped like a puppy meeting a taser. Jesus, are you giving me a massage or trying to tenderize me? Your blood is rushing faster, she said with clinical pride, tail curling around his thigh. The documentary was correct. Increased circulation increases performance. I'm not a steak. He groaned into the pillow, which now smelled faintly of alien musk and doom. You can't just, okay, maybe don't stop. That's weirdly good. She bent low, her mandibles brushing his ear. You taste like fear. And something else. A wet sound followed, and he realized she was licking his spine like she was sampling sauces at a buffet. His breath itched, partly because it was hot as hell, partly because he wasn't sure if this was foreplay or marination. When she flipped him again, his pulse was a drumline in his ears. Her eyes glowed now, pupils slitted, chest heaving like a bellows. I am ready, she declared, voice raw with hunger. Ready to insert. He choked on air. Insert? No, wait, let's clarify what you think that means. Too late. Something tore, fabric, not flesh, thank every god. His pants were gone in a single, merciless rip. She stared like she just opened a treasure chest in a video game. Ah, she whispered, reverent. The breeding tool. Magnificent. Though smaller than I imagined. Wow, he said flatly, ego taking shrapnel. Thanks for the Yelp review. She ignored the sarcasm, tail tightening around his leg to pin him in place. Begin now, she demanded. He blinked. That's not how this works. You don't just press start and... Oh, but we do. And with a strength that was both terrifying and way too hot, she grabbed him, lined up like she'd read the entire Kama Sutra backward, and shoved herself down in one fluid motion that made both of them scream, his in shock, hers in guttural, animalistic triumph. Every thought flew out of his head. Coherent speech became a myth. The heat of her, the strength, the sound she made, clicks and growls and something like a laugh, broke every law of physics and sanity. When she started moving, grinding with a rhythm that felt more like war than love, he couldn't decide if he was about to ascend to nirvana or die in a very stupid, very naked way. You're insane, he gasped between thrusts that rattled the bed frame. This is, oh God, this is... Victory, she snarled, slamming down so hard the mattress snapped. Splinters flew. The bed collapsed like it owed her money. She didn't care. She just kept riding, claws digging trenches into his chest. Your emperor will never call you weak again. And in that moment, pinned under an 8-foot alien princess who thought sex was an Olympic combat sport, he decided two things. 1, this was absolutely going to kill him, and 2, what a hell of a way to go. By the time she finally stopped, panting, glowing, and smirking like a queen who'd conquered a planet, he was a broken man-shaped puddle on the floor. She stood over him, stretching, glorious and terrifying, and said with smug satisfaction, Human multiplication is pleasurable. I approve. He groaned, trying to lift his head. You approve? I can't even feel my legs. She crouched, tipped his chin up, and kissed him, fierce, claiming, full of teeth. Prepare, male. We will multiply again. Until your emperor bows. His eyes widened. Again? Lady, if we do that again, they're not gonna need a funeral. They're gonna need a mop. Her grin widened, fangs gleaming. Then I shall fetch a mop.